wanted to take some time to try and explain, explain my vote. And I want to start out by addressing Mr. and Mrs. Cheeseman, Mr. and Mrs. Wagner, and Mr. and Mrs. Navarro. I'm grateful for the amount of time that you gave me to explain to me your situation. You were extremely kind, and therefore I feel like I owe you an explanation of why I'm going to vote to support the project tonight. So I've just made some thoughts. And I want to take you through what my process was, because this is a hard vote. But when I first started receiving emails about the proposal called Jackson's Grant Village, the majority of those emails clearly were in opposition. The one thing I noticed about those emails was a similar beginning in each one of them, like, we love our neighborhood, we love our neighbors, we love Jackson's Grant. But there was a but. And that's when they would say, we are opposed to Jackson's Grant Village, and most emails listed one or more of the following: too much density, negative effect on property values, traffic, never told it was a possibility, not in keeping with unbridled elegance, I heard that one every time, and the proposed commercial node. Well, while I don't find this unusual, because we always receive remonstrance to a potential rezone, I did find it curious. And curious, I only mean because Republic, who built Jackson's Grant, which is made up of multiple neighborhoods with varying density, varying price points, different builders, was now proposing one additional neighborhood. And this is the same developer who weathered the original remonstrance against Jackson's Grant, which now, almost to a T, each person proclaims to love living there. The other similarity to me, which Councilor Austin has mentioned, but it was my recent experience on the east side of Carmel trying to protect and preserve the commercial node at 126th and Gray Road. Now, it's not an exact comparison. I get that, and I've had conversations with many of you about that. But what I would like to note and make clear is that what I heard about the node and the value and the importance that those people on the east side gave to that, and it is a strip center, and they were absolutely adamant how important it was to them and how reliant they had become to it. So I decided to dig a little deeper into the remonstrance, and I reached out to citizens and offered them the opportunity to speak with me and Richard Arness, president of Republic. Now, a couple people criticized me for doing that, for including Republic. They even copied my colleagues, but I will tell you why I chose that method of doing my due diligence. First, it's been my practice, if I'm going to make a decision and the decision falls to me, I find it very helpful to have both parties, for and against, in the same room, talking to me eye to eye, face to face, ear to ear, whatever it is. Because I just think it is a more efficient way to get to the bottom of things. But number two, I wanted to make sure that everyone that I spoke to was at least acknowledging the same facts that I was going to use to make my decision. Data versus emotion. Now, not everyone agreed with me, I get that, but at least hear out some of the things that I was grappling with in making this decision. So, I invested 17 hours via phone and in-person meetings with Jackson's Grant residents, including even one family who is moving into your beautiful, lovely neighborhood next week. I hope you'll welcome them. These were all remonstrators against the Jackson's Grant Village proposal. Every discussion was polite and enlightening for me. So as of this afternoon, I tallied all of the emails that I have received from Jackson's Grant Village, from the Jackson's Grant residents, I should say. Now, we've received hundreds of emails, but I went through each and every email and determined the address that they lived in Jackson's Grant, and everyone pretty much said, I live in Jackson's Grant, I love it, as I said earlier, and that I allowed one last name per address. My tally is that there were 71 opposed and 54 in support. Now, while these decisions cannot be made solely on how many emails we receive, and I would never do that, but I did want to address the statement that has been made to me over and over again, and it's been a compelling statement, that the clear majority of Jackson's Grant residents do not want this project. I believe that with more engagement and the opportunity to maybe be for something, which is now gave them the ability to speak up and want to be heard. And I personally believe that the residents in support have a right to be heard, and I represent them as well. So some of the topics that came up in those conversations and some of the reasons of why I'm voting for. I believe this land will be sold and developed. I think Republic is the right developer with a successful record of success. No one has told me they don't like Jackson's Grant. Based on that first point, there is always a call for further reduction in density. Just as in my business, every business has a tipping point. There is only so far you can go. I have trusted that through the process of first going to staff, then through Plan Commission, that the plan that came to us was the plan that made the most sense and was financially viable. And we do have a situation where a developer walked away after we had extracted everything we could, and now that land is with another developer. So I had to take that into account. I believe 71 dwellings will assure that we still get the quality that is in the rest of Jackson's Grant. And that was a big point for me. The density for Jackson's Grant Village is 3.9 compared to the Hamlet at 5 and Stableside at 2.85. Those are all medium density, and I think in context it makes sense. The street auto will be connected into Jackson's Grant regardless of who the developer is. Many people said, well, if we had a different developer, they wouldn't connect to the rest of Jackson's Grant. That is not true. It will be connected. Now, the townhomes, which could be a negative, I believe have turned out to be very positive. And the reason I say that is because they've all been designed with first floor masters. That is the biggest complaint I get from people in my age range who want to downsize, right size, whatever we're calling it these days, and can't find anything that's appropriate. These are townhomes with a first floor master, which is how they get the price point up into that $600,000+ range, and those people who do not want yards like everyone else does and is willing to accept the commercial feel of that most southern quadrant. The temple, the hospital, Market District, Zotec, all of that down there, people I believe it's been my experience in townhomes will accept that more than someone building their single family dream home. The situation with the resident amenities, such as a pool, have been addressed to document a process of how the decision will be made, because that was another point of contention. How it will be made, I'm comfortable with the document we just reviewed, that has been handled. Now, the president of the Plan Commission explained his vote for a negative recommendation, and in a written letter to us has encouraged the council to now vote for it based on specific language regarding the neighborhood node. And I quote him in his letter: "A small neighborhood-scale commercial node that supports the Jackson's Grant and other nearby homeowners with day-long vibrancy, enhances the sense of community in the area, and offers commercial activity that will be a gathering point, a convenience, an amenity for neighbors in Jackson's Grant and nearby. I wholeheartedly encourage the council to adopt the Jackson's Grant Village rezoning ordinance, including and especially to permit the neighborhood commercial amenity," end quote. So another remonstrance point was that the Plan Commission had voted against it. I now have evidence that that is at least not totally true. So to the neighborhood node, the 20,000 square foot neighborhood node now has a limit, again, in the limitations of any building not larger than 7,500 square feet. A CVS is 15,000 square feet, so these are small buildings. There no tenant larger than 5,000 square feet, no drive-throughs, no parking between buildings, truly a place for gathering, which I have to say, again, based on what I've learned on the east side, is extremely important to people. So I am unable to discount, well, I have two more points, and I apologize, President. I am unable to discount the professional land planning staff of Carmel. This too often, in my opinion, is overlooked. As I look around our community, I have to give credit to a record of success and good thought behind their decisions. And a lot of work has gone into the project that we will be voting for tonight. It is not something that just appeared to it. It has gone through iteration after iteration to try and refine and make it the plan that we have now. I have to give some credence to our professional staff, and I'm grateful for all the help they've given to me to understand what are the issues at hand. So finally, I want to acknowledge the city councilors and plan commissioners who came before me, because they are the ones who dealt with the same kind of pressure that I have felt now for the last 45 days. Those who courageously resisted the large remonstrance and voted to approve Jackson's grant in 2011. I am yet to receive an email saying they made a mistake. For that reason, I will cast my vote in favor of Jackson's Grant Village.